okay, feels strange. That's okay. Don't worry. My bag. I cooked. Oh, it's still the beginning. I sprint out of bed to run to a park. Valeria grabbed the bag. We ran to the car. Why are you going so slow? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to continue our conversation about birth experience, motherhood, and I memorized this not funny, but kind of vivid moments of this day when I was giving birth, and I just wanted to kind of tell you the story of how I was preparing for birth, what was my plan, and what came out of it, what was my expectation and what was the reality. So I wanted to give a natural birth from a day one that I got pregnant. I was very clear with my doctor about the fact that I wanted to give a natural birth because, as you know, in America, very often they are pushing for C-section, not because you need it, but because it's convenient for them. It's easier for a doctor to schedule C-section and just for them to have it there rather than you are coming out of nowhere, whatever they don't know, and then you can be there for 24 hours or even longer to be there in pain, and they have to kind of be there around you, and you're taking longer hours for them to work, right? So that's the reason why a lot of times in America they're pushing for C-section, also because it's more expensive, and if you have an insurance, so the hospital get paid more for C-section rather than for a natural birth. So I'm a believer that natural birth, if everything is okay with your body, is the best way, and that was my plan. And I was very clear to a doctor about what I want, and he was very respectful about it. I also got doula. Doula is a birth companion. She also can help you to give birth at home, but this is not for me personally. So I decided to do it in a hospital with doula. I just felt like, since I never gave birth, I don't have my mom here, I wanted to have someone next to me that know what's happening. If I feel some sensation in my body, I will be like, oh, I feel this. She'll be like, that's okay, or that's not okay. So I wanted some confirmation, of some person that will be confirming that things I want or I feel are normal. So I made it all the way to 40 weeks. I think I gave birth 2 days before my due date. I actually done acupuncture and it helped. I gave birth the next day. But the plan was that my doula told me that it's better to wait at home as much as you can, because in America also they strap you to a bed, they give you IVs and stuff like that, so you can't really move. Also for legal reasons, they don't want you to get hurt in the hospital, so they kind of strap you to bed and you can't move too much, which is in her opinion was not great, because the gravity definitely helps the baby to calm down, and you moving around and squatting and doing different positions also helps the baby to go through a birth canal. So she recommended me to stay home as much as I can, so I can get to a point until I can't take it anymore, I guess. But actually she told me to count my contractions. So she said, by contractions we will understand how far along are you with your birth, right? So I woke up in the morning and I started to feel a little cramps, like a menstrual pain, and I was like, okay, feels strange. And also it had kind of a pattern, I could feel it would come and then it would go and then it would come again. So I was like, that feels like a contractions, but very light ones. So actually it'd been the whole day, so I was whole day at home. It was the same, kind of like a menstrual pain. I cleaned, I made my bed, my bag, I cooked, we walked around, so the whole day I was totally fine. Around 8 p.m. I started to have more noticeable contractions to the, okay, I needed to sit down, I needed to slow down. And then in an hour it started to get a little bit more, and I started to Google some yoga positions to ease the pain. I was on the phone with the doula and she was like, do you want me to come? I can come, but I've been calculating. I downloaded an app. There is actually an app that you can download that can track your contractions, which is very useful. So I've been on the phone with her timing the contractions. She was like, oh, you're still too far, don't worry, stay home, bear with it. I was like, okay, this is just the beginning. And that was already a good pain. So but the construction was still far along. Another hour, I feel like the pain is really unbearable. I was like, oh, I couldn't catch up with my breath. Like the pain was really strong. But the constructions were still far away. And she was like, oh, it's still the beginning. Bear with it. You're still far along. So I was like, oh my God. But I was still like wanted to be strong, especially because she told me that I was so far away from actually giving birth. I was like, oh my God, I'm so weak. Like, why am I cannot handle this? This is just the beginning. And she recommended me, it was like the evening, probably 10 o'clock. She recommended me to go to bed and try to take rest because she's like, oh, you most likely will be giving birth during night. I don't want you to be tired. Just try to sleep. Try to sleep? I was barely breathing. So I went to bed and I was like trying to like breathe and think about something else, put the music on. Valerie was next to me like snoring already, having good dreams. I was like suffering. After half an hour, it became so unbearable that I had to slide on the floor and I was literally crawling around the bed like this. And Valeria like woke up from me making some noises and he's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. So I was still crawling like this for 20 minutes, climb up back to bed. And the moment I climbed up back to bed, I never forget this sensation, but there was like a balloon inside of my stomach burst. Guys, I swear, this is a feeling I'll never forget. It was pretty memorable. And just the whole water came out, not on bed because I felt it. I felt it was coming. I sprint out of bed to run to a part where there is no carpet and the whole water came out on the wooden floor. Even during pregnancy, I was still thinking about not messing up my mattress. Of course, Valeria jumped out of bed. He's like, what happened? I was like, okay, that's it. We need to go to the hospital. And from that moment that I actually broke my water, the pain escalated from 5 to 10 in a matter of 2 seconds, and the contractions became so like consistent and so short, like the break was so short in between. Like the way I imagined that I'm gonna be going to the hospital, guys, I prepared a Zimmerman dress with like a beautiful sandals. I thought I'm gonna arrive there like looking all pretty, take pictures. I've been crushed in a matter of seconds. So I was in the moment, at that moment, in the pajama when I broke water. So as you can understand, it looked like I peed my pants. I did not care to even change. I ran out of the house barefoot, guys, barefoot. Valeria like threw me the Havaiana slippers in my bag just for me to like slide them on the way I was running to the car. Forget about putting a pretty dress. I forgot at home, of course. Valeria like grabbed the bag. We ran to the car. So, you know, of course, him like all panicked too. So luckily our hospital is very close by. So I was like, okay, baby, drive careful. And he's like, okay. So he's driving careful, respecting all the stop signs, red lights. And then in a matter of like 2 seconds when the construction was coming, I was like, why are you going so slow? He was like, all right. You told me to drive careful. So Valeria started to speed up so fast, and we made it to a hospital, and I ran to the lobby and I was like, I'm giving birth. So they took me pretty quickly to room, and the doula arrived and we kind of was bearing there for another hour. And then at some point I was like, I can't do it anymore. I need a epidural. And then it took another hour for someone to come and give me an epidural, and this hour felt like been lasting forever, guys. And I remember this guy like came in with a very serious face, the one that was giving anesthesiologist, with a very serious face, like no smile, nothing. And I was like, thank God you're here. And he was like, don't move. And I'm like having on the middle of contractions. I was like, how can I not move? So this lady came, a nurse, like very strong looking nurse. She grabbed me and she like hugged me, like almost choking me. And she wouldn't let me move when he was doing epidural. And I always like been scared of this needle, like the big needle of epidural. When you look online, it looks scary. Guys, the pain of a pinch of epidural was not even close to a pain of contractions. Like they was like, epidural was like a walk in the park. And just like the relief of this pain, of this tension in your body with epidural was like the best feeling ever. And I actually, when they gave me epidural, I even managed to sleep. And then they just woke me up and they're like, okay, it's time to push. And another probably 30-40 minutes and she was out. So it was pretty quick and easy. And one thing that I will say that doula definitely helped in at the moment where they were telling me, oh, we're gonna give you oxytocin because you can, you know, give birth, you can't push her out. And the doula was like, no guys, let me try. She was like turning me around and trying to like position me differently to help to move my hip bones, I guess. And I think that helped kind of for a baby to turn and come out on its own. So definitely was very useful to have doula. Also, like in the moments where I felt scared or something, she was like there to encourage me to breathe and just stay with it and not like freak out, because during birth it's very easy to like freak out, especially when you haven't been through it ever. So guys, that was kind of my birth story, and kind of like expectations and reality didn't really meet, but my birth story was still beautiful and I loved every second of it. I did not manage to do it without epidural, but honestly, feeling just half of the pain before I got the epidural, I was like, okay, next pregnancy I will get epidural much earlier. But yeah, that was my story and I hope you find it useful. Maybe you are expecting mom. I'll be happy to answer questions if you have, to maybe any moms that are expecting, and share my experience. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'm happy we've done another chit chat video. See you next time, guys. Love you all. Ciao.